How many of you have laid awake in bed into the early hours of the morning, unable to find the elusive sleep that you want so badly but just can't seem to find? Hi, I'm Michael, and I plan on telling you what sleep is and what can happen if you don't get enough of it, and most importantly, what you can do to better your sleep habits. That way you can have a better night's sleep. Contrary to what is often thought, sleep is actually an active, organized process that involves two different stages of sleep and occur at two different times a night. But what does that mean to us? The two different stages of sleep are REM sleep and non-REM sleep. REM sleep is characterized by taking up 20% of the night and occurs within 90-minute cycles. It is where we have our most vivid dreaming, and also our entire body loses its muscular control so that we don't act out our dreams. Non-REM sleep takes the residual 80% of the night and is where the restorative functions that repair our body come into play. But how much sleep does a person really need to have each night? The average person gets about 7.5 average hours a night, but it always varies by person. Some people are fine with 5, other people like to have 8 or more. You need to find the right amount for you, and it can be a different process for each person. So what happens if we don't get enough sleep? A couple little quick facts for you here on when you don't get enough sleep. 6 out of 10 people say that they have trouble sleeping a few nights a week. 4 out of the 10 people who experience sleepiness says it interferes with their work. And most importantly, the annual direct cost of sleep-related problems actually tops $16 billion in the U.S. And this does not take into account the indirect costs. That is an additional $50 to $100 billion in accidents, litigation, property destruction, hospitalization, and death. Disasters such as Chernobyl, 3 Mile Island, the Challenger, and the Exxon Valdez were officially attributed to errors in judgment that were all caused by lack of sleep or mental fatigue. Additionally, medical problems can occur from lack of sleep as well. It's very common for not getting enough sleep that it can attribute to heart disease, stroke, high blood pressure, and also depression. There are more than 80 different sleep-related disorders recognized by medical profession. This can cause symptoms ranging from excessive sleepiness during the day to abnormal or even violent behaviors at night. So what can you do to avoid this? The answer is sleep hygiene. Each person can actually take steps to affect their sleep hygiene and better their own night's sleep without the use of medical aids. There are a few personal habits you should try and find for yourself in order to really get into a good sleep hygiene mode. First, fix a bedtime and awakening time and keep this steady. Don't vary it by different nights of the week. Try to keep this constant. Second, avoid napping during the day. I'm guilty of this on the weekends because I really enjoy a good nap on the weekends, but it really does throw off your sleep patterns. Third, avoid alcohol, caffeine, and spicy foods within 4 to 6 hours before bedtime, as these can directly affect your sleep. Fourth, exercise regularly, but not before bedtime. The second thing you really need to look into is your sleep environment. You should use very comfortable bedding and find a comfortable temperature setting for that room. Excuse me. And keep that room well ventilated. Also, block out all distracting noise. I personally use a box fan to generate white noise so I can't hear other noises in the house while I'm sleeping. And fourth and most importantly, you should only reserve your bed for sleeping and for sex. Third, getting ready for bed is the next important step in establishing a good sleep hygiene. 1, try to have a slight snack before bedtime. 2, practice relaxation techniques before you go to bed. 3, try not to take your worries to the bed with you. 4, establish a pre-sleep routine. And 5, make sure you can get into your favorite sleeping position. 2 things to avoid in your sleep hygiene is television before bed, because television actually engages the mind and causes you to stay awake even long after you've watched it. And another thing to avoid is also reading in bed. Reading in bed does the same thing, and it makes your mind active and very engaged and can keep you from falling asleep very easily. These things I've mentioned may seem like common sense, But many people don't even realize that they're doing these things and they're causing their own bad habits. So in conclusion, sleep is something that we can take for granted. Everyone loves a good night's sleep, but most people don't realize that they can directly affect their own nightly sleep habits in a positive way without medication, just by looking into a few little things to tweak in their sleep habits and their sleep hygiene. To recap, we have looked at sleep itself, what we can do what happens to us if we don't get enough sleep, and what we can do to help ourselves get a better night's sleep. I hope this little bit of information will prompt you to consider your own sleep hygiene and find a way to make your sleep better. Always discuss with your doctor if you think you're not sleeping enough or if you find that you might be sleeping too much.